Welcome to Helping Hands with your hosts, John Neiman and Judy Ritchie.
Hello, and welcome to Helping Hands. This is where we let you in the community know where you can lend a helping hand to a program or agency in need. I'm Judy Ritchie. I am a community advocate and a part-time Aurora volunteer.
And I'm John Neiman with Aurora Medical Center. And welcome to our March edition of Helping Hands. We love the word March because it's like we're marching into spring, even though we thought we had spring in January and February.
And starting with a snowstorm.
Yeah, we're hoping that this really is spring because everybody wants to get out in their gardens and do all of that good stuff. So we're glad that you could be with us for our March edition. Who sponsors this show? We're very thankful to Aurora Healthcare, who's our monetary sponsor for this show, and also for Harnix Flowers and Gifts on 9th, who does our wonderful decor. Where can you see us or where can you hear us? We're on the radio at 101.9 FM. We're also on Oshkosh Media Life TV, Channel 2. And we do thank our audience for joining in each month to see what's going on in Oshkosh with volunteer agencies and how they use volunteers. And we have a wonderful guest that we've never had on the show before, so this is exciting for us too.
And this is an organization that's relatively new to the community. We've been here something like 5 or 6 years. Provides a really terrific service for new residents of the city. This is Tammy McLaughlin, who is director of World Relief. And World Relief sounds like very global. Can you explain a little bit what the agency is?
Sure. World Relief is global, actually. We are a Christian nonprofit humanitarian organization, and we have 12 ministries overseas, and those ministries look different depending on what country we are in. But here in the United States, we have 20 offices, and all of our offices here are involved in refugee resettlement.
And tell us how you define a refugee.
It's a great question. A refugee is somebody who's had to flee their country because of persecution, war, or violence. So if they would have stayed in their country, there's a very good likelihood that they could have lost their life.
So now, on the screen before us, for our audience, it said your office is on Washington. Where is it on Washington?
115 Washington Street. We're kitty corner from the library and right across from the Masonic Temple.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so we're in a great location. Yeah, really enjoy that location.
And Judy mentioned before, how long have you been in Oshkosh? Or
our office opened 5 years ago, 2012, as of 2 weeks ago. So we're celebrating our 5th anniversary this year.
Congratulations, happy anniversary.
Yes, we're very excited about that.
And I had a really good education to what the agency was back then, because one of my neighbor's daughter was very much involved as a volunteer at that time. So every time we turned around, Joanne and Mary were always asking for, does anybody have this? Does anybody have that? We've got a new family coming in they really need to have. So what is the role of a volunteer with the organization?
We have a lot of opportunities for volunteers. When the refugees arrive here, there's a lot of adjustments that they have to go through. And there's a lot of services that we have to provide because we actually contract with the government to resettle the refugees, and they tell us exactly what we have to do, when we have to do it, the orientations we have to provide, those types of things.
So on our screen then, do you want to go through what some of the things then the volunteers are needed to do?
Sure. When we find out a refugee is arriving, we have to secure apartments for them, and so we have to provide furnishings for those apartments. So we can have volunteers donate the apartment furnishings and also help to set up those apartments. The refugees have lots of appointments when they first get here, medical appointments, social security appointments, helping them register for school, maybe for language classes. So we like to have volunteers who help us get those refugees to the appointments. And then we also have community mentors, as we call them, and they are people who just want to walk alongside refugees. There's so many challenges and obstacles to the new culture and the new life when they're resettled here that we like people who just want to receive them, who want to be friends with them, who want to let them know that they're important and that we are glad that they're a part of the community.
And Carolyn is probably one of the most visible ones, correct?
Yes, we love Carolyn. She's in the office, and she's helped refugees for many years back. She's a community mentor on steroids. She does it to the utmost and the ultimate, and she's just a wonderful, wonderful friend and advocate and just family member to a lot of the refugee families that we have here.
So when you're looking for volunteers to help with the mentoring, are you looking for a longer term commitment because you don't want to have an influx of different volunteers? You want the refugees to get to know
We
the
really do.
volunteers?
We like to talk about the spirit of volunteering. A lot of the volunteer opportunities might be more task related. And while we need task related, really it's just, again, the friendship, the spending time with you. A lot of times they can't communicate because there's language barriers, but a smile, holding
Exactly.
somebody's hand, just sharing a cup of coffee, even though you can't say much, but the presence of a friend or a person being with the refugee is really what the spirit of the volunteering involves.
And I know that we have refugees who come to Aurora for their medical appointments, and they do have the volunteers with them just to help them get around too, because when you walk in, it's overwhelming on how huge everything is and where you need to go, and to have, like you said, that friendly face and that smile guiding you where you need to go is truly important.
It is, and so many refugees haven't come with any type of health care before. You know, they've had to flee their countries very quickly. There's no preventative health medicine, and many come with some health issues. So to walk in what we know as a clinic, you know, or a very modern facility with doctors and nurses, and they've had very primitive types of health care. So it's really nice, again, just to have somebody with you to stand alongside of you and help you navigate those services.
And you do a partnership with the Literacy Council, don't you?
We love the Literacy Council, yes. All the adult refugees go to Fox Valley Technical College for their English classes, but the Literacy Council really enhances their language skills, and that's so important for how well they're going to do here, is how well they can speak English. So they really need both. They need the technical college and the formal classes, and they need the Literacy Council. So we love volunteers to volunteer at the Literacy Council because they're helping refugees also. So there's a lot of ways, even within the community, that you can assist without actually being at World Relief.
And there's such a delightful group, because now that you said that, Aurora partners with Dana and the Literacy Council,
Okay.
and I've done tours
Okay.
for the refugees, and some of them, their children are doctors here, and they're coming over, and the pride in what they see, they're so polite and so nice. And I thought too that there was going to be a big language barrier when you're doing the tour, but if you just simplify things and just, like you said, smile and be friendly, they really understand. And they've also helped us to change some of the things that we do, such as signage and other things, to make it simpler. Instead of, I still remember the one refugee we had who kept saying mammography, radiology, x-ray, they're all the same thing. Why don't we call them one thing? And we did. We do now because of that. So we really can learn from them also.
And that's such an important point. We forget that sometimes. We forget we're here to serve them, and that they have a lot of needs, and they do. But we also, one thing I've learned from refugees is the difference between wants and needs, because they come with having so little and needing so little, really. And that's something I think, as me as an American, that I sometimes need to step back and say, now what do I really need versus what do I want?
Isn't that so true? I use that with my kids. Not that I know that they listen or not, but it's true. It's your needs and your wants, and something for them so simple for us makes a whole difference in their life.
It does. And they're people who have persevered and people who are resilient. They're vulnerable when they arrive because of just being in a brand new situation and having so much to overcome. But when you know what they've come from and what they've had to survive, they can teach us, again, perseverance and resilience also.
There was recently an article in the newspaper about the couple who came and have really been a success. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, we are so celebrating that. We're our first family that we welcomed to Oshkosh 5 years ago, and they came from Myanmar and had quite a story of what they went through in terms of having to escape and bad living situation, and the wife got pregnant, and they didn't know what to do because she couldn't go to a hospital where they had escaped to because they were there as refugees. So they came to Oshkosh, were welcomed by the community, the Oshkosh community, very warmly and with open arms. He has a good job at Bemis. They have 2 cars, they have a house, they're living the American dream, and they're actually going to apply for citizenship, which refugees after 5 years of being in the United States can apply for citizenship. So they really have done so well here, and we also are the recipients of how well they've done in terms of what they're going to give back to our culture, even economically as they've purchased homes and paying taxes, and just lovely people who are loyal.
Good neighbors.
Oh, wonderful neighbors. Yes. And again, we can learn from them and different traditions and food and ways of doing things. So we're just really celebrating Wei Hin and his family. Yes.
That is really nice. Now, we always tell our switchboard and our customer care representatives that when they're on the phone with someone, the person on the other side of the phone should see you smiling, even though they can't see you. I look at you. You have not stopped smiling, and you also smile with your eyes. You can see the joy. So tell us your background and what got you involved with this.
I was raised in Marshfield, Wisconsin. I graduated from Stout, and my first job was in Washington, D.C. in the hotel and restaurant business.
Wow.
That's what I graduated. And so I've lived all over the country with my husband as hotel transplants. And I started working, I retired hotels to raise our daughters. Started working for World Relief. We have a big office in Atlanta, which is where we were the past 15 years. And this position came open in Oshkosh 2 years ago. And I hadn't lived in Wisconsin in over 30 years. And to come back to I love the Midwest. I love the people. I love Wisconsin. It's my home state.
Do you
and
love
to
the weather?
Yes.
Okay, good for
Yes,
good
I
for
love
you.
winters.
Good for
Yes,
you.
I know I'm one of the few. But to do something I so passionately
Which
became
you can
involved with World Relief in Atlanta and helping refugees and doing something I feel significant and just really impactful for people who need a lot of help but rise above it, and like I said, just give back to our community and have so much worth and value to add to our community. So I'm very privileged and honored to serve the refugees in Oshkosh.
And you bring such a level of energy that we don't always see. And for us who have been around for so long, to have that, it really re-energizes us too as we're doing things.
It does, because for us, we're involved in local groups in our town that invite the volunteer agencies to come together. Some people who just get out of college don't realize that there is not much money in volunteer agencies, and they use it as a stepping stone. But to see someone who's doing it for the right reason, you went into it knowing that you're not going to make a lot of money, but you're going to get the joy and satisfaction coming out of it personally and then professionally and with all of your clients. So we do really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
And one of the things that I've heard is that she's very good at making the connections between here, and here, and remembering them. And that is a key tool to the position.
Oh. Well, I have a wonderful staff. And like I said, Oshkosh is a wonderful community. It's a welcoming community. We have amazing volunteers like Carolyn and others who pour their hearts into people and just want them to thrive, not just survive, but really thrive. So we're lucky on a lot of levels.
Can you tell us about your staff then versus, are they all paid, or do you have volunteer staff, or do you utilize volunteers in the
We have a
office?
core staff of 11 and young people who, again, aren't making a lot of money, raising young families, but just feel this is important.
That's
and
good.
It's valued work and pour their hearts and souls into it. So we have a very small staff. And again, that's why we rely so much on volunteers to really help walk our newly arrived friends just through the basics of life and getting really settled and doing well.
And when you talk about the staff, the different responsibilities, it's not everybody does all the same thing. There's different responsibilities.
We have an employment manager. He works really hard at helping refugees get employed. Health navigator who helps with all the medical appointments, insurance, those types of things. An immigration person. Refugees, after they're here for 1 year, they have to apply for green cards. Extended case management, maybe some of our clients might be single moms with kids, maybe have extended health care, so they need a little extra of attention after that first period when they arrive. So our staff does have different roles, but we also try and help each other out too, because every day is different and you're just not sure what you're going to confront each day, so we're all on the front line together.
So you've piqued the interest of our radio and our TV audience now. Tell us how they can become involved as volunteers with your organization. Who do they contact? What are some of the things they may do? Because we do find out that...
Well, do they require background checks as a biggie?
They do. That's a great question. If they want to spend time with refugees, if they want to set up an apartment, if they want to donate items, maybe collect items to be donated, we don't need the background check. But if you want to spend time with refugees, drive them to appointments, then we need background checks. We have volunteer orientations once a month, and that is a great way to come and just really learn about who we are, who refugees are, and we really ask that that would be their first step, to come to a volunteer orientation. And then we talk about, these are the opportunities that are available, and this is what you can do, and then decide what's a good fit. We have a community outreach coordinator who works individually with each of our volunteers to help place them well.
So the best bet on our screen is the location of your Oshkosh office at 115 Washington. So would that be the number to call, the 231-3600?
Yep, website is a great tool also, worldrelief.org, worldrelieffoxvalley.org. Facebook will often post when we have volunteer orientations coming up. So social media is the best way to stay involved in the internet.
Now, when we were talking the different items that are needed, I'll go back to one of the pieces that you sent me, needing Walmart gift cards.
Walmart gift cards are great, $10 gift cards. Sometimes a family may need maybe a few extra items or some laundry soap or detergent to stretch them through the month, and those types of things are great items that they can buy there. We do all of our pharmacy medicines at Walmart, so it's a great tool
and I
for
see
them.
the wish list. You just say it. This crew is so good here. You just have to say it, and it comes up on the screen.
That is amazing. It's magic.
Yes. So it does. So that would be probably one of the biggest things that people, because we find out too that a lot of people don't have the time anymore, but they like to donate through the gift cards. So that would be a great use for them if they wanted to do gift cards. They could call your office or go online again for that.
Yep, and I see diapers up there. We have a couple babies due in the spring, so and diapers are expensive.
Oh my gosh.
So those types of things we can always need because we have babies in the area. And like I said, we can distribute the gift cards especially can distribute for people who've been here 30 days or people who've been here maybe a year that might need a little extra help. So.
And Judy was talking about this before the show. So if people have items to donate, they should just call you.
Yes.
Because you may not need them at this time because of storage issues or things, but maybe you could use them down the road. So people should always call first, and then they could find out the needs that you have.
Yeah, we would appreciate that, yes. So call first.
As we're winding down to the last little bit, anything in particular you'd like to leave as a message?
Just thank you again to Oshkosh and the community and all of our volunteers. We hope to see a lot more volunteers, and you get so much more from serving these people than they get from you. It's just such a joyous and wonderful experience. So we hope to see you at World Relief in Oshkosh.
And your phone number and your website?
worldrelieffoxvalley.org, and I can't remember our phone number. I'm sorry. I never call it.
231-3600.
There we
Thank
go.
you for
there
that
we
help.
go, and it's on the screen now.
Okay,
231-3600 to call. If you're interested in volunteering or more information on volunteering or donating or what their orientation is like, because maybe you'd like to take the orientation and share it with others at your church or at the Rotary or at the Kiwanis and really help out that way. So we're excited to have you on this show because I think sometimes there are so many agencies out there and we all don't know what they do and what their role is in the community. And to have you on, it does make a huge difference because it's an important cause that we all celebrate, because Oshkosh is known as Event City and the city on the water, but we're also a community of people who work together and give together. So
Strong diversity.
yeah, strong
Yes.
diversity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being with us for this first segment of our March edition of Helping Hands. Stay tuned, and we'll be back for our second segment of Helping Hands.
If you have expired or unused medication, don't flush it, pour it down the drain, or toss it in the trash. Safely dispose of unwanted or expired medications at the drug drop box located inside the Oshkosh Police Department. It's convenient and anonymous, safe and secure, and it's open to everyone 24/7. Drop off your prescriptions, over-the-counter drugs, pet meds, and more. Keep drugs out of the reach of children and out of our water supply. Dispose of unwanted or expired medications at the drug drop box. For more information, visit the Oshkosh Police Department website at oshkoshpd.com.
Wisconsin is losing our World War II veterans. If you were a World War II veteran, or you know one who hasn't gone on an honor flight to D.C., please help us. The Wisconsin Broadcasters Association is partnering with all Wisconsin honor flight hubs to make sure every eligible vet remaining who served their country so selflessly gets the chance to go. It's time for them to see their memorial. It's time for their flight. To learn more or to make a donation, go to wisconsinhonorflight.org.
Hi, welcome back to our March edition of Helping Hands. This is the opportunity for Judy and I to talk about what's going on in our community, things that you may be interested in, especially with this being the wonderful month of March. The first thing that we do have to talk about is celebrations. We're in green here. St. Patty's Day is always a huge time for people to celebrate, and there's actually lots to do in Oshkosh around St. Patty's Day, celebrating the Irish, celebrating the corned beef and cabbage, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's actually a wonderful time, especially because spring ties in. Now, everybody listen, officially spring is on March 20th. So I know we've had the iffy weather all along.
And
but let's
daylight savings time.
Yeah, daylight is the 12th, I think.
Something
isn't it?
like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we spring ahead, so I'm sorry, people. We will lose an hour, but hey, it's worth it if we can have spring. It's just, everyone has been so anxious for spring when we got that warmer weather in January and February, and I kept telling people it's not going to last, and we found
And
out.
then we got the snow and the ice.
Yeah, how you can have almost 70 degrees one day and the snow and the ice the next day, but hey, it's Wisconsin.
And then the comic strip in the newspaper that Sunday of all set up for the beach and then having the snowstorm.
And more pictures, our first guest was talking about Facebook and all that. More pictures of us Wisconsin people grilling out in shorts or sitting in chairs in the snow, because for us 40 degrees is heaven. It's good for us.
Speak for yourself. I
Yeah.
like it a little warmer, but
If I could wear shorts all the time, I would. But I remember that day that it was the 70 degrees. Oh my gosh, that was just really, really great. So March is kind of the time where people start thinking about their gardens and planting, going to garden shows, or maybe art in the garden.
Art in the Garden is almost always, the last weekend in March. It is sponsored by the Altruista Club of Oshkosh, and it is a free admission art show. The artists pay to have their work displayed. They also, we have vendors, people's choice. So when you come in and go through the entire show, all the displays in the middle of the room, including high school, you get to vote on, and with that, awards. And so The awards are broken down by professional, non-professional, high school, and there's some bragging rights as well as a little money included with that. And
So-
it's a great way to kick off spring.
Altruist is a service club, so
It is.
So, does their money for this event go to something specific, or just to a lot of the
Yes, it is.
charities?
We've adopted a new project. In the past, we raised money for the Lucas heart compression machines, which the fire department has, I believe, 7 or 8. And our newest is for the canine unit with the city police department. And so we're raising money for another dog and all the costs that go along with.
Which people should realize that having that dog with the police department is not cheap.
It's not cheap.
It's expensive to do. So to have a cause to raise for it, and then it's art, and it's the garden, and it's spring.
It
So
is.
we encourage, and it's at.
It is at the Hilton Garden Inn.
Okay.
And it would be that last Saturday from noon until, I believe, 5 or 5:30. And then on Sunday from 10 until 4.
Now, I wonder if our radio audience and TV audience is getting all of the hints. It's art in the garden at the Hilton Garden Inn. So it's March. Get active, get involved, get your plant seed books out there and start doing that. It's about giving back. And there's other ways that you can give back. So actually, Aurora is sponsoring a community blood drive once again in April. But we need to talk about it now so you can get that date on your calendar. So there's a blood drive at Aurora on Monday, April 10th. They've actually opened up earlier now because people said they want to get in earlier. So it's 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. in our first floor conference room where we always have our holiday craft fair right across from the gift shop. People can walk in. We appreciate walk-ins, but if you'd like to make an appointment, you can call us at Aurora. You can call myself at Aurora at 456-7013. I'm part of the committee for the blood drive. But seriously, not everybody who comes in and signs up is able to be a blood donor. So there are times that we have 40 people signed up, but because of certain conditions or something,
Illnesses or medications or
you
whatever.
may only get 20 out of that 40. So we really do need people in our generous community to come out. There's blood drive opportunities all over. So if this one fits your need and your schedule and your location, come out to Aurora on Monday, April 10th.
Well, in the fact that you've got the earlier hours, there's a lot of us are up earlier in the morning, like to do it and then be able to go on to the day.
Right.
And what better way of making a breakfast date with a friend is to come, give blood, and go out for breakfast.
Yes. And then there's also treats there too, and always
Absolutely.
home baked treats. And sometimes they theme it and they have prizes. So it's a great chance to give back. If you can't give back monetarily or of your time, giving of your blood is certainly one thing that we can do. And we all know that the need is there with all the tragedies going on.
And it
in our
saves
world today.
lives.
It does. It saves lives. Definitely does. So we're so glad that everyone could be with us for this show. This show really energized me. Our first guest was just wonderful to have to talk about passion in what you do and helping people, and then putting the focus back on our community, which is a really giving community. So we appreciate that very, very much.
Well, when we do the commentary for 4th of July parade, we always talk about the country being founded by volunteers. And we see that in our community. I was speaking with a gentleman from the chamber the other day, and how we're seeing the young people of the community who grew up in the community are becoming the community leaders.
Right. They're coming back and being involved, like the groups we have, Propel and all of that. So, and that's another topic that we can talk about again some other time. So we're glad that you could be with us. Join us again. I'm John Neiman with Aurora Healthcare.
And I'm Judy Ritchie, community advocate and part-time Aurora volunteer.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again here at Helping Hands.